The city of Austin just recently celebrated a day honoring CARE.
You know what the Democrats are doing is really outrageous, and they're tone deaf to the dangers by these foreign terrorist organizations. CARE has been a well-documented supporter, providing material support to terrorists.
Ready to roll?
Yep.
All right.
Real Texan.
Why should this matter to Real Texans?
Governor, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
You have announced several initiatives dealing with radical Islam going back the last year or two, from the Epic City to the designation of the Council of American Islamic Relations as a foreign terrorist organization, investigations into alleged illegal Sharia courts. What is causing the rise of this in Texas?
So we don't know what's causing the original rise of it. What we do know is what we're doing to try to react to it. And that is when we found that some of these organizations were violating the law, we needed to insert ourselves and stop, for one, the violations of law, but stop these organizations from expanding in that way. The easiest example is what was going on in Epic City. Epic City, as you probably know, tried to create an Islamic-only community, which clearly violates the law, but also the way that it was structured seemed to be laden with fraud throughout the entire structure. And then there were some other legal violations, and so it was necessary that we got involved and put a stop to Epic City. And it was through that process we realized that CARE was involved and growing here in the state of Texas. And I say that, CARE had a presence in Texas going back to the time when they were first prosecuted in federal court in Dallas, Texas, back in 2009. And that is one of the things that led to what I documented in my proclamation, saying that CARE is a foreign terrorist organization and must be banned from the state of Texas.
And even now you look, I think the city of Austin just recently celebrated a day honoring CARE.
You know what the Democrats are doing is really outrageous, and they're tone deaf to the dangers by these foreign terrorist organizations. They're tone deaf. They're not realizing exactly the facts behind what I laid out in my proclamation, and that is CARE has been a well-documented supporter, providing material support to terrorists. And anybody who associates with them is imposing danger in their communities. And that's also exactly why we came out, I think it was last week, and said that these school districts around the state of Texas that were thinking about hosting a CARE-sponsored Olympic events at their school was dangerous. Look, our schools are not here to sponsor terrorist-based organizations. And so we're going to be fighting this every step of the way to make sure CARE is not allowed to have any presence in the state of Texas, but also these Sharia communities, Sharia courts, any attempt to impose radicalized Sharia in the state of Texas is going to be completely gutted. I'm proud that in the Republican primary, there's a ballot initiative on it. And it shows the strength of what the attitude is about the voters in the state of Texas. And even though I've signed a law that bans Sharia law in the state of Texas, this is going to be something that we take going into the next session and make more crystal clear and more expansive what the ban on Sharia law is in the state of Texas.
Another issue that you have acted on recently is H-1B visas. You put a freeze on H-1B visa applications for state agencies and public universities. What kind of fraud were you seeing that led you to take that step?
Well, first, it's complicated because H-1B is a federal program and oftentimes is used for private employers and private companies. And to some extent, there was a curtailment of it when Trump became president most recently, and he put a $100,000 cost for an application of a H-1B visa. But when we learned that there were public universities and even public schools that were using them, as well as maybe some other taxpayer-funded governmental bodies in the state of Texas using them That's when we realized that the state could actually do something about this ourselves. And we wanted to make sure that our universities, our public schools, and any other governmental agency in the state of Texas is not using taxpayer dollar to give a visa to some foreign worker when we have Texans who could be performing that job.
Mm-hmm. And you put this freeze until the end of the next legislative session. So you're expecting something to come out of the legislature on this?
Yeah, listen, because of the complexities about how the program works, because of the necessity to spend the time necessary to uncover the fraud, I think it requires investigations. It could be investigations by district attorneys. It could be investigations certainly by the legislature. I fully expect there to be interim hearings by the legislature before the session begins to find out exactly what's going on so that when we do get into the session, we will be able to provide a more precise piece of legislation to make sure that we curtail the use of H-1B visas in state government hiring.
Fraud aside, are H-1B visas a good idea in and of themselves, do you think?
Well, so for the most part, H-1B visas oftentimes are taking the place of jobs that Texans could have. H-1B visas, we have learned from some reports, pose some potentially very serious problems in the universities. I've seen a report saying that Chinese have used an H-1B visa to go to universities and obtain intellectual property or other information and then take it back to China. That's a serious problem that has to be stopped. I can give you some examples about ways in which an H-1B visa may have worked. Elon Musk came here with an H-1B visa. That was a good investment, having him come here. So this has to be executed with a precise point about what you're trying to achieve. And that was the original intended purpose of it. And we're just seeing administration after administration after administration in Washington, D.C. get away from those first principles and turn it into a chaotic program that is taking jobs away from Texans and from Americans.
Illegal border crossings in Texas and across the country have gone to a standstill since President Trump took office. Is there something the state should be doing now, though, knowing that, President Trump's not always going to be in the White House?
Well, so there are actions the state of Texas is taking right now during the Trump administration, but also actions that we're taking to be prepared for what's going to happen after the Trump administration. What's going on right now is we still have more than 3,000 National Guard on the border. And now what they're doing, they're working in collaboration with the Border Patrol. And they assist in the arrest, the detention, and the deportation of anybody who comes across the border illegally. We have the Texas Department of Public Safety still engaged in Operation Lone Star on the border to, again, make arrests of people coming across the border illegally. Just in the Rio Grande Valley, just in the month of January, they apprehended almost 250 illegal immigrants who came across the border. But now they're working in a partnership with ICE to make sure that they are immediately removed. And so we now have a partner. And then if you go back in time, listen, I'm the one who pioneered the use of these buoys in the river to stop crossings. And now Trump is expanding that and building 500 miles of buoys in the river. So bottom line, we have a partnership now. That said, no one knows who the next president is going to be. And so my job is to make sure that we secure the border for more than just the next 3 years, but also for at least the next 3 decades. And we're working on the strategies to make sure we do that. You do that, for one, by making sure that we have barriers in place that impede or prevent people from crossing the border illegally. We do that by making sure that we have the ability to arrest and deport anybody. Go back to the law that I signed after the 2023 session, Senate Bill 4, the strongest illegal immigration law that any state in America has that allows us to arrest anybody who crosses the border illegally, allows us to deport them, empowers every law enforcement officer in the state of Texas to arrest those people coming across the border illegally. And we will be implementing that law to make sure that we are going to be able to enforce immigration laws in the state of Texas for anybody who crosses the border illegally into our state.
All right, we got about a minute left. I want to ask one more question here. You have put out a proposal for a statewide prosecutor because of a lot of liberal, lax district attorneys in some of these jurisdictions. My question is, why a new position for a statewide prosecutor instead of giving that to, say, the attorney general?
So the attorney general could do it. We're working to make sure that it could be done in ways that are consistent with the Constitution, that don't violate the Constitution. And so we're coming up with strategies for that. As a former Attorney General myself, I've seen the problems about the Attorney General being able to prosecute. There are certain strategies where the Attorney General would have to work in collaboration. But to be honest, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter if it's the Attorney General or a state prosecutor. What we have to do, we have to fix the problem that exists. Let me just give you one quick example, and that's right here in Travis County. The district attorney here, because he refused to bring an indictment against murderers who had been arrested and were behind bars, they had to be released because of his malpractice by not bringing the indictments in time. So that is legal malpractice. We got to be able to solve that problem. And if we have a state prosecutor where we can have clearly, objectively verified reasons why, whether it be the Attorney General or a state prosecutor, to step in those emergency situations to prevent dangerous criminals from being released back on the streets, we got to create a position that can do that and stop, or let's say override, all this malpractice that's going on by some prosecutors in districts across the state.
Governor, I know you have a busy day. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to be here with you.